G'day everyone, welcome to the Bothy. I'm Chris. That would be Al, but unfortunately he's in Scotland for the next few weeks visiting his mum. So today, you're stuck with me. Very exciting news today. New marches have been announced for the 13th of September 2025 around the nation. So what we thought we'd do today is have a look at what the marches are about, what the message is, and where they are. So the marches are the Australia Unites Against Government Corruption marches, and they're to be held at this stage in Darwin, Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, and Adelaide. So first of all, let's have a quick chat about how we got here. I reckon March for Australia has spurred this nation into action in one form, whether it be for it or in spite of it or against it, it doesn't really matter, but you can feel Australia rising as one, say, no, we won't allow this country to go down the dunny, as simple as that. So these marches are born off the back of the March for Australia, and whether we agreed with that rally or not, we're all going to go harder and faster at these rallies, I'm sure. So what do these rallies support? And if you have watched our channel, you'll know that these subjects are really, really close to our heart. Social media ban bills, so opposed to any attempts to silence free expression online. Everybody knows that we stand for free speech. It's really, really important to us. And obviously, we support social media not being banned. Digital ID, which is something that we've done a couple of episodes on but haven't put them to air because we're not 100% comfortable with where they've been. We're against centralising personal data and increasing surveillance, putting privacy and freedom again at risk. That really isn't what we're about. The third point they talk about is the WHO Pandemic Treaty. No unelected global body should hold decision-making power over any local sovereignty, and we couldn't agree with that more. So that's another really good point that we'll be marching for. Protecting the farmers. Anyone who's watched our channel knows that we really feel the farmers are being hard done by in this nation. We live in regional Australia and we see the hardship and the pain that the local state government here in Victoria and the federal government are causing our farmers. So we're on board with that. Housing and cost of living crisis. Rents are up through the roof. Daily essentials have gone crazy. We're all for that. Reform immigration. And for us, that's what last weekend's march was about. It was about transparent, sustainable, balanced migration where the needs of the Australian workers are put first, along with housing availability and community wellbeing. That is exactly what we marched for last weekend. Zero tolerance for racism. So unity, not division, is what this march is calling for. And that is brilliant. All forms of racism to be rejected. Absolutely awesome. So they are all points that we can get behind and support and go and march behind, knowing that we agree with all of them. Putting them in order is a little bit tricky, but we'll have a go at that in a minute. So where are the marches? Darwin, Civic Park, 12 o'clock, 13 September. Brisbane, Botanic Gardens on Ellis Street, 12 p.m. Melbourne, Parliament House, we just came from there, at 12 p.m. Sydney, this is very exciting, Bradfield Park, Milsons Point, march across the Sydney Harbour Bridge to Hyde Park. So this will be the second march across Sydney Harbour Bridge in a month at 12 o'clock. Adelaide, Victoria Square at 12 o'clock. Now, they're the only marches I've seen. I haven't seen any other marches in any other cities mentioned. If there are more, I'll bring it to you. The website clearly states that no neo-Nazis are welcome, no racism or any acts of hate or violence will be tolerated in any capacity. So we would ask that every Australian that supports these 6 or so points get behind this march. It's really interesting. Last week, the March for Australia was labelled a racist march against all immigrants. Now, we know that's not the case because we marched with immigrants. One of us is an immigrant. We marched with Chinese, African, Indian. We marched with all types of different people. So we know that that isn't the case. This march is anti-government and has already been labelled by the ABC as anti-establishment protests organised by anti-vaxxers, conspiracy theorists and sovereign citizens. And sovereign citizens, particularly here in Victoria at the moment, is a dirty word. It was interesting that the ABC honed in on that point. Some of these organisers encourage you to step away from the current system and celebrate your sovereignty. They also support campaigning against radical gender theory in schools, and we're all for that. So once you get to 18, do whatever you like, but let's not teach our primary school aged children about gender theory. So 50% of us will be there on the day, and hopefully I'll have somebody along with me to do some filming. Please say hi if you see me. I'll have a backyard bothy sign around my neck. And please join us for a chat. We're really interested in why you see this rally as being important and which of these points stands out to you as the most important to be marching for. Just one more point. There are at least 3, I think 4 rallies being held that day. There's an anti-racism rally as well that is going to start in the Gardens. There's also a remigration rally, which is interesting. We will be supporting this particular rally, the Australia Unites Against Government Corruption. And what we'd like to know is where you think the government is most corrupt. What do you think it is doing to lead so many people to get out and support these types of rallies? Because you can feel, as I mentioned before, you can feel the ground swelling. You can feel people rising up and wanting to stop the mess that we're getting ourselves in. We are putting ourselves in the dunny. We're just waiting for the government to flush the button, and we don't want that to happen on our watch. We don't want to hand our next generation a basket case, which is what we're heading for. So let us know what you think in the comments. We'll be really intrigued. I'll be really intrigued. A certain young fellow that would normally sit to my left will also be intrigued, but he'll be doing it from Scotland. And I will see you at the rally. We'll do another midweek update before we go. And looking forward to seeing you all again on the day. Thanks, everyone.